Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of SpurrLIVE Leadership Conversations. My name is Wendell Lawrence, and I'm the CEO of SpurOpen.com. And every week at this time, we have an amazing conversation with a leader in Jamaica. SpurOpen.com is a company that is into online payments. We help businesses, individuals, churches, freelancers collect money online. That's essentially what we do. Event organizers, etc. And with what has been happening with COVID and that kind of thing, we have just thought that it would be an interesting idea to have conversations with some of the persons who use our service, as well as persons who don't, but just persons who are in the space and are faced with different kinds of challenges. This evening is no different. We have an amazing gentleman here to talk with us. As you join this broadcast, as you're seeing this broadcast, share it with a friend. Let us have a conversation together. All right, we're looking forward to an amazing evening. As you come in, just share it with a friend, share it with someone, let them know that we are now live. This evening, we're going to be chatting with Reverend Dexter Johnson. And he is, many of you may know him as the leader of the Jamaican Youth for Christ. He's also the pastor of the St. John's Road Church of God in Jamaica. So let's join us, Rev. Are you here? Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. My joy.
How are you doing, sir?
I am well. I'm doing good, and this is a good day. No, this is the day after the day. So yes. It's a good day.
Yes. And happy belated birthday, sir.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I hope you had a wonderful time yesterday to the point where it spill over. Today is a good day, eh?
Of course, it is. I believe strongly in the overflow, and it has flown over. And since July is still alive, we flow right to the end.
What did you do on your birthday, sir? What did you do on your birthday?
Well, as a good leader, I got up and my wife gave me, you could say, breakfast in bed, and then I took off to serve the young people of the nation. But throughout the day, I had people just coming in. They're taking cake and a particular bottle with a little spirit in it, and stuff like that, and then the lunch came in, and so it was just like that going throughout the day, and then we top it off at Gloria's, at the waterfront, and some churchy crazy young people with family, and we just had the time of our life.
Oh my.
So I'm still enjoying and flowing.
Nice. In the overflow.
In the overflow. Somebody would love to hear that.
Awesome. So Rev, we're gonna have a little chat. We're gonna talk about COVID a little. We're gonna talk about church. We're gonna talk about technology, leadership. Talk a little bit about your team, young people that is involved, and so forth. So I want to kick it off by asking you the question: How do you find leadership? Describe to me your experience as a leader. You have been a leader for how long? Give me a little bit of background first, from the church perspective and the Youth for Christ perspective.
Well, pretty much a leader for over 30 years.
Nice.
I really got saved at age 14, and ever since that happened, I started. It's like I was just thrust completely into leadership within short order. And so you could say I learned on the job as a young person. It was my church and Youth for Christ went hand in hand. Saved at 14, started Youth for Christ at age 14. And so Youth for Christ exposed you and give you a greater leadership opportunity. But equally, the local church, I was with the Elim Open Bible Church then, and tremendous leadership. So that balance helped to frame my life. So the first time they asked me to share for 5 minutes, I almost have nightmare.
Wow.
I didn't know I could last for 5 minutes. But if you give me 5 hours now, I'll go non-stop. So I'm just excited. That journey, and when I look back, I thank God for the foundation that took place at Elim Open Bible and alongside the Youth for Christ ministry. worked with some great leaders. And the thing about Youth for Christ ministry gives you tremendous opportunity. There was no one area you were allowed to just stay there and serve forever. No, man, they said this year, if you were Talents for Christ coordinator, then next year you need to be PR, public relations officer, and the following year you are our concert man, you're planning the major event, and the next year. So the exposure was wide, and we have one saying, you know, that because the Youth for Christ matter clear, we are geared to the time, we're anchored to the rock, and we say no to nothing. You know, we say no to nothing and say, God wants you to do it, you know, and believe God. And that's how I've developed into just being who God have me to be now.
What is your experience now? What has the journey been like now? So you have gone through that kind of history and that kind of experience coming to the point, but you are now a leader and you are in a position today. What are the expectations of you as a leader today? And how do you find those expectations?
The expectations are great. Sometimes you wonder if you're in a shoes that is way bigger than your feet. But if just understanding who God is and that, you know, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So as I looked at the journey and the now, the demand on leadership is greater now than even before. You know, the good old church, you have about 20 prayer mother and about 5 prayer father that constantly just help there. But today we have young people who are tossed into leadership. And so part of my responsibility, and I believe it, especially at a time like this, is how do I shape the next generation? That next generation, that must start leading now. And I want to so position it from my local church, from the Jamaica Youth for Christ level. I believe that every time a life step through the doors of Youth for Christ or my local congregation, that I have a God-given responsibility, one, to ensure that they are presented with who Jesus is. Give them that fabulous opportunity to accept him. Once that is done, then we begin to shape lives. That's what the kingdom of God is about, shaping lives. And so wherever I sit, I have one policy. If you are young, God has called you, and he has not called you to be lazy. So the principle we work with is young people around me, you're either going to go school, work, learn a trade, but you must do something. Right?
Yes.
In short order, we want you to get married because we want you to have family. Unless you have a clear call that God is calling you to a particular type of ministry. So my leadership today is about shaping lives. And so I am moved by just working with young people. So against that background, even the fellowship I lead would have a larger number of young people for that reason. But nothing gives me greater joy than to watch a life excel. I'm not threatened about a man coming up and doing way better than I am, because I believe that is some stripe that goes somewhere, because I would have a sense that I had a role to play in his or her life. And I believe we must definitely give people the platform. So the demand now is to balance church and the world and politics and just right across. So somebody know that the God we serve is relevant, that our relationship is a relevant one, and you know it's not something about way down somewhere and somebody wondering where we are from. I tell young people, you need to be real. So you can't stay around me and don't look young if you're young. I want young people to look young. I want them to be trendy, you know, but I want them to understand the importance of balancing that with being modest, because we are ambassadors. We represent the King of Kings. So so the challenge, the greater challenge right now in a COVID season is when you talk about the doors had to be closed.
Tell me about that, because what I wanted, what I was curious about is what did church look like the first week when the announcements were made, in terms of the restrictions and the lockdown, so to speak. What did church look like for you?
Yeah, well, can I tell you how amazing things were for me? Because actually I was overseas on speaking engagement for 3 solid weeks. And in the midst of that, my assistant, Pastor Michelle Grant, and the congregation, so I would have just link up and thank God for technology.
Yes,
and we talk
yes.
about the reality. And I said, with what I'm hearing about what COVID is, and together we just had a clear agreement, some clear protocol had to go in place. And as a local congregation, we decided on putting in particular protocol way before the official announcements were given. Yes, man. And so we would have issued bulletin weekly. And we are saying, so when we had to close the doors, it was not hard for us because we were already geared. You know, sometimes God prepare you over the last 10 years or so. We have a technology group. So these young men and young ladies, they're savvy. They know
Hold on. You say you have a technology group in the church?
In the church, yes, man.
What's the function of this group? What's the function of this group?
The function of the group is to be on top of everything that is happening in technology. One is how to keep us relevant. Is how to create a different platform so we can reach our membership and reach beyond. And so out of that, these young people keep telling you what is happening, what is the new platform, which one you're to stay on, why we need to be here, why we need to be doing this. And they also would say, well, as a church, we need to invest in these things because once we do this, we're in a better position. And so for us, the switching over and going online was just ABC. In fact, as the pastor, I was the one who was holding that a bit. But when we had to switch over, it just happened like ABC. So when they tell us that is 20 of us can meet and then tell us that is 10, it didn't matter because once we had our praise and worship team and we had our musician, we have a preacher and we were ready to sail and we sailed. Church was happening. So
you already had cameras set up. They already were doing the whole streaming exercise. You were already engaging persons online before the whole COVID thing?
No, in fact, we officially did that. We had some trial runs that we did for some of our function, but we officially went online as COVID hit. I was delaying that, waiting for more stuff and to say, but they say no, man. They have top of the line phones. You know, they don't buy the cheap phone. In fact, they say, Pastor, you can have this phone, and they just upgrade my phone. I love them for it. So probably for this birthday, they might just say, you need a better phone, and they upgrade me again. I'm making no trouble. I tell them, God prepare me with the word, and He has equipped you with the technology. You know where to get me. I'm working with you for its partnership. Together we do this. And so from where they use, so we were on 4 or so platform because we had 4 cell phones and set up, and they do that and just make it happen. And we were sailing. What is amazing out of all of this? So we are reaching 250 persons that would have walked through our doors, average on a Sunday morning. Once we went online, we were reaching over 1,000 persons. And, so it's amazing. So even now with us coming back to church, with the spacing and all of that now, the social distancing, we're able to accommodate 100 persons. And so we are doing that. We are currently looking at the flow as we say, children, you need to stay home with your parents. We do Sunday school online, Zoom classes, and they are in youth fellowship online, and they go with Facebook and do some crazy things. They have it, and they just direct us. And what I learned, from my coming from the business side of things, is that you don't have to be, as a leader, you won't be invested with all knowledge. Never feel you have it all. That's one of the
common themes that are coming out in these conversations. Is like the leaders are saying that focus on the leadership and focus on empowering the people who have the gifts and the talents in the particular areas.
Yes, definitely. Because that's what matters. If you learn to build lives and pull out their giftings and talents, you're going to have a better flow. So it happened. it happened, and I tell you, part of the excitement is would have come over and have the church with 10 of us and preach up a storm, and the response from across the world was crazy. In Jamaica was great. Just person linking us up to pray, to just be there and telling us we can't come offline.
Yes.
They tell us clearly, when the doors are open, Pastor, you have to stay on. When we met as a council, it was clear we had to stay on. So we are on for wherever God wants to take us. And we see that is going. Because I live in Portmore, when the Prime Minister locked down Portmore because of the COVID outbreak that side. Listen, in my home alone, we were able to keep church. Yes. So my wife and daughter and son play music, and the sons were there, and we just have church and preach up a storm.
Awesome.
One member who is a police said, a colleague said to him, "Your church pretty?" And him said, "No, man, I'm a pastor house man." And but it's a part of how God just equipped us. We could find the right space and just have church. And one of the comments that touched me is people said, "We didn't get a sense that you were at home preaching. We got a sense that you were clearly at church with a lot of people before you."
Yes,
I tell people, when God anoints you for the season and for the time, then it just works. So in this season, I'm an evangelist at heart. So if you know me well, I tell them I'm an evangelist that pastor a church. I'm not a pastor that do evangelistic work. I'm really because I believe that we are saved to lead others to Christ, and that's our greatest mission. So what COVID-19 is doing for us is
just gives you a big platform.
Platform, of course, a massive platform, and we don't want to miss it with the church folks. Because church folks see, you know, they must not wait to ever.
Let me ask you this: How do you balance now those in your church, in your congregation, who have grown? Oh, you mentioned that your congregation has a lot of young people, but I imagine that there are some persons in your congregation who have grown attached to church the traditional way. The touch, the feel. I'm here. We hug. There's the announcement for funeral. There's the congratulations to the young girl who passed the exam, and there's all of this that's happening in the physical space, and for them that is a real part of the Christian experience. How do you deal with that kind of adjustment? How do you deal with a member like that who deals with that kind of a reality?
It's not one of the easiest ones, because the reality is that we were created to be social beings, to interact with each other. And church was the place that a lot of people found comfort. When they can't find somebody to talk with at home or on the job or in the community, the church would have been that rescue place where they can talk to that mother or that father and, just deal with issue and sometimes just touch and pray and agree with each other. What this new season say to us is not business as usual. We call it a new norm, but I tell them this new norm must have Christ at the center of it. So we don't lose out on who we are. And we understand that. We have a message. We have that message to tell, and we need to tell somebody in all season that God still remains the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's something that I keep saying, God has not changed because of COVID. God remained constant. He's who he is. And he's using this season to pull the church out of the church. So we understand that we are more than just gathering in the building. That we have a message that it means that is by whatever means of technology. You have to reach some people and encourage them and pull them. You need to do that. Sometimes it means is on your own, you find a way to touch lives. That's a part of what this season is about. And we can't miss that.
Can't miss that. About what percentage of your congregation would you believe are online? Meaning, like, what percentage of them are techie, have phones, have data, can connect on a regular basis, as opposed to being out of data, out and not able to afford, don't have that kind of phone, don't have internet at home? What percentage would you, what kind of ratio?
I'll be somewhere somewhere about 70%. And I tell you, and then when you flip
Who are
that, because
online?
what we
70% who are online?
yes, man, online.
Okay.
And you flip that, sometime it can go higher easily. Why? Because all the church community is made up, it's made up of parents, young people, and children. Let me tell you, most homes have a phone that can bring you online and is exposed to data. And what we have said is while the older members are not able to quickly switch over, they do have grandchildren. There's some sons and daughters that help them. So what is happening now? When you're doing church and just be trying to reach Windell now established the system in his living room. The entire family is now joining you for that worship. And that's the sort of impact it's now having. So the entire family, they're not, and they say, we're in church.
Yes.
The family worshiping. So we're pulling a greater percentage of people online that is worshiping, and so they don't have to come up with an excuse that we don't have church clothes and it's too far and we are fearful. They're right in their home.
Yes,
they just press the button and they have joined us.
How do you do the children?
Well, with the children we do the Sunday school, the Zoom Sunday school. So we invite them on with their guardians and they stay on the Zoom platform.
Okay, right. So do you have like activities? Do you have like interactive activities for them? Do you send out, how do you, because I know for a lot of children, they like the touch and the feel. So they like to either be coloring and that kind of thing. Yeah. How do you actually translate that now into the tech space?
Well, those that run the children department, they know different ways. Part of it is some of those who have to govern are leaders and principal and people who have to run the children department at a time like this. So they transfer all of those knowledge over to the school. They know how long to keep them online, how to get them engaged, and how to get them to do assignments and show up, how to get them to interact. And let me tell you that the young people, our children are so savvy. They take their parents' phone, they go where they want it. They are linking. And so we have to help to guide the conversation for their linking. They are talking about the different things. So we put it in the mix so they can find the right balance. So we guide them. Yeah, so that's happening.
Okay. Tell me about the outreach now of your church. So we're still on church. We soon got to Youth for Christ. But for your church, before COVID-19, you would have had, I imagine that you'd have had different kind of benevolent activities, outreach, whether you do feeding of the homeless, I'm not sure what it is, visiting of persons incarcerated, etc. Those activities, describe for me those activities before COVID and what they look like since COVID.
Okay. So for us, what we pretty much do, what COVID forced us to do was to expand what we were already doing. As a church, we have what we call a care committee. The care committee is that we have this responsibility of taking care of the need, because where our church is located, we are surrounded with folks that will have need from time to time. And I'm excited, God give us a wonderful blend. What I learned very early in ministry is that it ought not to be the pastor's function, because the pastor will get overloaded. But what we did was to set up a care committee, and the care committee require careful prayer, because you have to do careful selection. Our care committee is a confidential one. A person, somebody that is saying, I'm not sure how I'll eat today and for the rest of the week. Their need must be met without it becoming the church's business. All right? So we have the folks we set up, our people we trust. So what do we have? We have young people that because our principle is that you come to church, you go to school, you go to work, you go learn a trade, but you must be doing something. So the care committee is what help to send them. So when it's back to school time, we have quite a number of students, and some non-members of the church that we literally, from uniform to school fee to, sending them back to school to daily bus fare and lunch money for the duration. and because they become a part of that care list. All
Right,
right.
right,
And
right.
so the care committee takes care of them. So all I need to know is that they are taken care of. There are different ways that this is funded.
Yes,
Largely, we believe it's through our tithes and offering. We believe that as God gives to us and the church is blessed, we ought to give back.
right,
In another significant way, members overseas that will send things from time to time, or
right.
some person just say, "I'm blessing the care committee," and we try. We don't want to overburden the church with this fundraising and that fundraising. So we say, as you give, we give out of that, and that has been happening. Care package for the elders. And those that are needy. So our principle was clear then, and we just reinforce it in COVID. We give to the needy, not the greedy. So we have some strong tagline we use,
Yes,
and
yes,
and
yes. And
because
that
and we're
guiding
not
principles.
afraid to say yes,
Yes.
and we are saying clearly, if you are in need, we give. What COVID does is that some people who you wouldn't normally have to give to, because the couple would be working and they would be able to manage.
Yes.
Now you find that one is working, and that family earning potential has decreased.
Right,
As a church, we have a responsibility to be there.
right.
Somebody announced their mortgage is in trouble. We have that responsibility to
Wow,
stand with that
wow.
person. What is that need? The doctor need, the glasses. We believe that church is about the total man.
Let me
And
ask
that's
you
why
this.
when God raised you up and allow you to be a part of that family, then that family God placed you in. Because we have a responsibility, to the household of faith to take care of God's people. And that's why I tell them the worst thing you can try to do is abuse God's blessing. And I said, don't take God for granted. Don't take God's people for granted. And I said, when you're in a position to help, help. So what is happening? Members partner, those who are in a better position. The church is general account partner. And we do have around us, some business people that just bless us, just bless us. Just last week, we pick up over almost $50,000 worth of goods. And that is just to give to that program.
Well, this is what I want to ask you.
We give to them, and we literally drive and deliver the goods to them.
Yeah, that is what I want to ask you. So sorry to cut you. Sorry to cut you. What I want to ask you is, and in the meantime, I just want to say big up to Alison Dexter, Dexter Johnson. I think you guys are related.
Better be.
Sure enough, big up yourself, Donovan Thomas. You guys, thanks for joining. What I wanted to ask you, Rev, is how does your system work? No, so you described in a mouthful a while ago the funding aspect in terms of support from overseas, support from the membership, support from the business community, support from different persons who have a heart towards the ministry. How do you funnel and assess the needs? And I want you to break down. I know that you, as you say, you're probably not deeply involved in the running of that committee, but just based on your knowledge of how the system works, describe for us, for the objective of somebody listening who may want to know, how do I set up a care committee in my church? Describe for me the workflow. How are you made aware of the needs? How do you assess the needs? How do you now go about in terms of meeting the needs?
So one, as a pastor, I run an open doors. So I'm a pastor that any member can come to at any time. I'm careful that I don't force them to make crazy schedule and give them crazy appointment. What I tell them is once I am here, I will stay here as long as it takes to see anybody. And it includes sometime until midnight. And I have no regret about it. Because I believe if God placed you with a set of people, then you must have a heart to serve them. The art of leadership is service.
Yes.
The greatest leader is the greatest servant.
Yes.
Serve God. I tell you, the people find it easy to speak to me and speak to their pastor and say, this is the need. My responsibility is to make the referral and to do
I
that
see.
follow to ensure that that need is met
I
and
see.
follow.
I
Now,
see.
because they now understand the system, once they get in it, then somehow they don't even come back to me. They go
I
straight to
see.
the care committee that
I
take
see.
care of that. We have members now that will identify persons who are not members of our congregation, but they are people in need. So they
Mm-hmm.
say, my neighbor is a widow. This old man lives beside me. These people are in need. This family is in need. And our responsibility is to help to meet that need. We, we, for the sake of COVID, we get our gifts. We put it online when we package it, and it was deliberate because we wanted people to know
Yes.
that we're not just saying it, we're giving it. But
Yes.
after we had done that for the initial season, we put nothing else online. Read that, because when we give a package, the delivery network is very strong. And what we simply do is those who drive and the men around us
Mm-hmm.
literally take the package. They take 10, and they just drive and they deliver. And
Nice.
the testimonies that you get, because these are the
Yes.
folks who really, because of their age and underlying ailment, are unable to come. And they delivered and deliver to whoever else we are told. And we continue to do that. We
Mm-hmm.
continue to do that. We have needs. Listen, one of probably the greatest all-time testimonies, just taking care of a member whose family pretty much had abandoned her, but she was up in age. We
Mm-hmm.
as a church, we had that responsibility.
Yes.
We knew when the Lord called her home to glory, that is our responsibility to just give her the best send-off we can. We did. We did. And all of that. We literally rebuilt our home and did all of that. So our Labor Day project was never about the church and working on church, but
Wow.
no, it was about working on homes. We do that for several persons. Now, those testimonies live on. In
Yes.
fact, in one case, the community said to us, listen, is the church take care of her? Is the church rebuild the house? Is the church bury her? Is the church put on the repast? Is the church do everything? And the council didn't give her a proper funeral. We gave her a funeral like we'd want to give any other member.
Yes.
That's the sort of thing, because this is one of us. And we
Yes.
celebrated and we
Yes. Yes.
give God
Yes.
praise. I felt good about that. I felt good about that. At the end, they said, Pastor, you should take the house and the land. And I said, no, not this pastor. What? All I want to know is that we were faithful in
Yes.
doing
Yes.
what God wanted us to do. And
Yes.
so I said, we have a number of Labor Day project. We are working at somebody's home, not at the church. We work and we help people. When you give material and you give and you help people, those are not announcements. There is a general report that this is how the care committee did, but there is not a breakdown to say what you have done for people, because we don't
Right.
want people going around
Yes. Privacy.
pointing out people and said, but can I tell you, one of the greatest blessings is to watch lives that you send through school come back and to be some of your better tithers. They just give to the church and give to those programs. You know,
Yeah,
persons
because they know the impact that's had on their lives.
Exactly. And now more than ever, with COVID, the platform is wider. God placed us in a community. We have a responsibility to bless that community. So we do our best. We give as best as we can. And we are not afraid of making sacrificial gifts. Sometimes it means holding on something else, another program, just to ensure we help to take care of the needs of some of the folks around us. I'm excited about that. And that's why I tell you that true evangelistic work and true church is going to touch the lives of people and make that difference. There's no greater joy, than when you help somebody to realize that there is a better way, that you help to shape their life, and you know that they went to bed with a meal, and you're excited about that that sort of thing. I have a crazy way to preach, because I tell them, if you come to this church and you die for hunger, then you should have died. Because we have
Should
an
I say
open
something?
door.
Yeah.
Yes, man, you should have died and tell them, I want to preach at that funeral service. Because somebody must understand, that our greatest downfall is pride. We understand, but I said, we have a door. When you get in the pastor's office, the door closed. We can talk, we can reason, and together we believe God. We can't meet all your need. And a matter of fact, I tell them, the Bible did say, cast all your cares upon him who careth for you, the Lord Jesus Christ. We are just the mere workmen that he will use to assist in this program. So I'm excited about that.
Tell me about what the Jamaican youth are saying. What's the temperature like? What has it been in the past couple of months? You, in your capacity as the leader of the Jamaica Youth for Christ, have the oversight, from my understanding, of one of the larger youth networks in Jamaica, a network of Christian youths that spans denominations, that spans church group, that is just like a whole host of young people. What has the feedback been since COVID started? How is this affecting them?
One of the thing about leading a youth ministry at a time like this is that the young people are the techie people.
Yes.
These are the people who are already online. These are the people who are already linking up by large. And so we do understand that you do have a number of them that will not be able to afford the means of just paying for the connection, or might have connection problem within their area via the different service provider. But by large, what this season has done is to allow us to realize the young people who really love God. Because I can tell you that their own plans blow my mind. When you lead and you sit back and you get the feedback as to where do we go next.
Right.
They are the ones that are setting up the prayer network. Young people are praying like crazy.
Wow.
Praying till midnight.
Wow.
Young people, I'm talking about young men, not just young ladies, they are praying. They set up different prayer network. And they've gone into fasting. Young people don't fast. They've gone into fasting, and we're doing a week of fasting. They are doing so many things online, and they link up. They find a way. What is happening? Because of the network, they are partnering, and the powerful thing about the Youth for Christ ministries is that we are not bondaged by denom. So the label don't stop. So they are able to minister across, and they share with each other. So this particular denom is having this seminar, and they are linking on that. So they are gaining knowledge, and they are powerful. And what do we do with that? We use that now to enhance and to take the ministry to a different level. So currently, since COVID, we have been just doing some things online. And you know that Jamaica Youth for Christ, that if you want madness, if you want to know where it's happening, just link up the ministry. Because we are blessed. When I say I'm blessed, that God has blessed us with a recording studio. So we have a own recording studio. So we have some artists who pass through that sometimes you wonder if they don't live anywhere. Midnight, that's still in the studio doing recording, just doing things, perfecting the art. And I'm just excited about that. So there's an army of musicians that just link up, and they are there, that is ready. And I'm just excited about that. And I watch them develop themselves. I watch them. So what? The people passing through, we have quite a number of them from Ednam and the school who are already, at the top of their game, but they partner with us for ministry. So we are doing that. So our studio is busy. Outside of the time when we have the immediate lockdown, and the studio had to be locked down for that 2 weeks. Outside of that, it has been going on, because this time
I've been seeing the lives, I've been seeing the activity online. Man.
Yes, man. So they're up and about. Remember, I don't stay with them though. You know, the younger Dexter and the others. You know,
Oh,
and I
so
tell
the
you,
Dexter Johnson that's on it is not you.
it's not, no, it's not me. I tell you, I tell you, my job is to identify the giftings and the talent. He's trained,
Or
he
produce
goes to school.
the talent.
Yes, man. Right. So that is happening. So we're blessed with that. We're blessed with our own peer system. So you would have known by large, we're at a place where we can do our own Genesis.
Yes,
God has
yes,
blessed us.
yes.
We have lighting. And all of this is happening. What do we use all of this to do? To create and to impact young people, and in the midst is to do training. So we have done how to make movie training in COVID, and a number of young people link on that, and they're on that. Remember, we have done 3 full-length gospel movie, and a matter of fact, 4 full-length gospel movie with actors from Jamaica Youth for Christ, and and we are crazy. What is crazy about that is Jamaica Youth for Christ. Acts 12,
yes,
drama ministry, along with Barry Vision.
Yes.
We were able to put on Jamaica's first full-length gospel movie, theater style.
Yes.
And God has used that to open doors internationally.
Yes.
Listen, every one of these movies have won an award, not just locally, but internationally.
Wow.
And, this weekend, there's a movie festival that I would have to be in and be a part. I went to one and I was just blown away because it was pretty much all white people. They didn't have the color of my skin. Just us who came from Jamaica. The 6 of us that was there from Jamaica. And we enter a festival. And when it was over, this brings tears to my eyes, and I don't cry easily, is that we were voted as the most inspirational movie.
Wow.
When people met us at the door, I watched tears just run from people's eyes. Just tears run. And these are white folks that is saying, keep on doing what you're doing.
Wow.
So we took the movie in a yard, so we carried to Florida.
Yeah.
And in one of those churches that membership over 800, and when we show that movie, or we premiered there, and it was fabulous. The Jamaican came, but guess what? They came with their children that was born in the United States. And they said they want them to get a taste and understand what Jamaica is like. Through that movie, I've been overseas to speak at overseas camp, just sharing with people. Yes, man, it has opened doors to youth convention, to different things, just being there, because they need to know. They are hearing the bad news about drugs and guns and all that young people is involved in. But God has so positioned us for such a time as this, when we can present them with what is positive. We are saying we have young people that are crazy about God. We tell them we have the best set of music and the best set of musicians. We have the best set of actors. Without doubt, we have the best set of singers. And God has just opened doors. So at every platform, we're able to do that. So right now, the doors of Youth for Christ is a tremendous door to serve. If you have your young people, you don't know what to do with them. Listen,
send them there.
We're not taking them to our congregation. They remain in their congregation. Our job is to equip them. So currently we are in our leadership training seminar. This is top level leadership seminar. Our trainer is someone that goes to different Caribbean islands and train organization. This is the level that we have been bringing to the table, because we are saying our job is to equip young people. We want them to be the better. When you and I move from what we are doing now, we must be assured that the baton is safely landed in hands. And I say to them that the young people in the church now, our job is to watch them. And our job is to we have to allow them to make some mistake and come up with some crazy idea. If you want to know what can work in COVID, let them tell us. When they tell us that they say Bible quiz work, and they tell us that midnight prayer work, and they tell us
so they're doing the Bible quiz online?
Yes, man, they are doing that. They have midday session Bible quiz and Bible talk and the different arm of the ministry. They do different things, and we are grateful for how God just has been using them, and they do that. And man, it's fabulous. It's just a great time. We are doing the St. Andrew Arm continue to do a program we call Operation Asphalt. This is the feeding program. So from our center, we get things through Food for the Poor and other persons that give to us clothing and food and stuff. And then we have people literally coming to the center every day. Although we announced that we distribute on Wednesday, you can forget that. They come every day. and our job is to give. But the principle is, once you have it, give it. Support these lives and help to make the difference. And so that is touching. That is touching. Now we are excited that we are so positioned to help churches, help congregation, help youth group, and say to them that don't bother feel that you're the little church in the hill. When you are partner with the Youth for Christ ministry, you are big and you are large because you are part of the larger family. We go anywhere to do ministry, for we are geared to the time and we are anchored to the rock.
Let me ask you
know it strongly. Yes.
Let me ask you this, Rev. How do you, earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that you learned early that that the pastor is not supposed to be in charge of the care committee. I might be paraphrasing.
Yes, ma'am.
The question I want to ask is, what kind of principles and tools have you learned that help you to prevent burnout in yourself? Because you are pretty engaged. You are allowing yourself to be available to meet with persons up to midnight. But at the same time, you're regulating. I'm not involved in this, I'm involved in this. What kind of guiding principles can you use to encourage somebody like me or another leader who doesn't want to overextend themselves?
Yes. So one of the greatest things is to learn the principle of delegating. You can't be a good leader if you're not prepared to trust the people that are around you. Ask God for guidance. So you want to identify from very early giftings and talents. Recognize where somebody is better at doing something. Don't suppress them. Even if they are better than you as the individual, give them room to showcase, give them room to develop. For the more they develop, the better you become, because you have a part that you have played in their life. So what we simply say, how do you prevent burnout? You just have to understand that you can't eat everything off the table at the same time. It's okay to have 20 things on the table, but you must know that your focus is on these 5 things, because this is what is critical. There is nothing that you have to do at once and everything have to happen. So you have to learn which one is most important now. And so we are ganging up and the focus is around this. So one of the ways we have been able to manage the Youth for Christ ministry with the many things that we do, from a Genesis to a national prayer breakfast, to school ministry and school devotion and the feeding program and feeding the elders. The way we manage that is you decide when you are doing what. Create a team for each of these areas. Have a leader, get report. And if you learn that you don't have to be everywhere, then you already start winning. And you're not going to be there because you're lazy and want to run and hide. Is that you trust those that are leading that arm and you're believing on the report. So what the good leader do is just to check and to see that the foot soldiers, for want of a better word, is carrying out their particular responsibility. So you're not caught by surprise that this didn't happen.
Right.
Trust people. Trust people. It is a powerful thing, when you can trust people and say, I trust you. You want to get the best out of a young person. I said, tell them, I don't care what they say about you. I trust you. You are going to make me proud. And I said, way beyond me, you're going to make God proud.
Yes.
Because I believe our job is to help them position them. I tell them, for me, it does not matter how bad you say they are. I know a God that can change bad life. Paul used to persecute the church, and God just backs him down and said,
Yep.
oh man, a wrong thing you do, and turn him around. That even when him reach Christian run from him and still see him as a persecutor. But God can transform life. And that's part of the legacy. We have some crazy testimony from some young people who tell you the path that they were on. In COVID, a young man walk in my office that is now a part of the Rapid, the prayer arm, a part of the sound crew at Jamaica Youth for Christ, and he's and the pathway of to get married enough. I'm excited about that. But he said, he said, Rev Johnson, all that I am, I owe it to Youth for Christ and the leadership here. And he said, listen, I came when I was at a place where I was uncertain about what to do with my life. And from my land, I didn't get a chance to sit down because we said, what are you doing? Nothing. Well, you have come to the right place. You can't stay here and do nothing. We're going to keep you busy in ministry, but we're going to tell you that you have to equip and develop yourself. My principle is clear enough. You're going to be in church for the rest of your life. You won't be in school for the rest of your life. So what is it you want to do? So you're going to go at that. You're going to do it, and you're going to find the right balance. Because I have to deal with young people. I said to them, listen, when it's time for you to study, you're going to study. Because none of you is going to allow your unsafe parents or relative to say you're busy at church doing this and that and no. God called us to be the head and not the tail. Yes, man, they must see what God is doing with us. I said, you want to be a witness? Excel in all areas. Excel. I said, it's not just about having the anointing and probably bust our tongues or two for those who will, and just have a good shout or a good rock. No. It's about balance. That at the end we are seeing doctors. Yeah, man, we are seeing teachers and lawyers. We are seeing mechanics and engineers. We are seeing people who are just crazy at every level. I believe that whatever you do, you're to be at the end of the game. So we say to them, of course, and that's what God called us to be. So the tremendous avenue, Youth for Christ, is international. So doors open. And so we bless God that even out of that, we talk about the feeding program that monthly we're feeding. We go to the different children home. Normally in the summer at this time, we'd have several teams coming from overseas, partnering with us, and would have gone with gifts and just present God with them and spend time and share with them. We are doing that the best way we can now with all the local gifts and donation that we continue to get. It's a crazy season. It's a season when companies are not at the level that they were. So a lot of things locked down. But we know the God we serve. Yes. That in every famine, God provide. That's just the bottom line. In every famine, God provide. So what did we do? In COVID, Jamaica Youth for Christ, we didn't send out letters to companies begging for money and food and help to take care of us and that. No. The Lord instruct us clearly. And so we send out letters to say, special prayer. We are praying for you. We want you to know that God has raised up an army of young people that is calling your name and your business. Wendell, your listener need to know that I sat at my desk, received phone calls that say, I have your letter in my hand. And of all the letters I've gotten for the entire season, this is what matters. Somebody stopped to say, we are praying for you. We understand what you're going through, and we are believing God that you and your business will return. We are going there. We are currently looking at how we're going to assist gospel artists that, because it's concert how they live and they can't do it. We're about to put on something internationally and nationally that we are going to send out something. So the studio is working that through now. We're linking with Barry Vision, and we're going to put on something and make a appeal for those to say support our young gospel artists. They need to eat. They still have a family. You wouldn't know that much more than me.
Yes.
The reality of how you have to help those lives. And listen, your resources can't be enough to touch them, because this is long. And so we are saying we are identifying with the needs.
Yes.
And we want to just be there, because together we can make it, you know.
Yes, man.
Together we can make it.
Yes, man.
We
That is
know
true.
the God that take little, and out of little much came. For little is much in God's hand.
Yes.
And God will honor us for that. So there are a number of things we continue to do. So right after this leadership training, we're going straight into evangelistic training.
Who is this leadership training targeting?
It is targeting young people, young leaders, and pretty much young leaders across the island, and not only those and the Youth for Christ leadership, but in their own church. And it has been exciting. They have assignment that they have to do, because they're going to be certified. This is something they can, you know, put among their many other things. And so I have been trained, and this is ongoing. God bless us. We have been getting sponsorship for these training through Chase Fund as part of their educational arm, and we give God thanks for doors like those that He continued to open. But churches and other people that give to us, you know, people who said, we are sowing, we see what you're doing, we see where the ministry is going, and we are partnering with you. Our Talents for Christ, we normally have in November. It's going to happen if it's online, but they are working that through. How we do it, it's going to happen. Our Bible quiz competition, it's happening. It's going to happen. We are going to be doing our prayer breakfast. We can't get all 400 people in this setting anymore. However, God will want to do it is a part of the discussion. And you need to know that Genesis will be happening.
All right.
Genesis will be happening. We, you know, I hear an announcement that 250 people can meet to go to Rum Bar and party and everywhere. We can find a space that we can meet. 250 of us meet, and we send the thing live right across and send gospel to national and international level.
Rent Harborview Drive-In. Rent Harborview Drive-In. I met the people who drive a car, go park up.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because you know I was going for this stadium car park, but you hit that, so let us see you know, the outskirt and we can do that. But that's a brilliant idea. But we are in the position of discussing all of these, because we are saying nothing put God's ministry under lockdown, because nothing about COVID is taking God by surprise.
Yes.
We might adjust. We might adjust how we do ministry, and I tell people that don't get super spiritual on me now. There are clear guidelines, and we need to follow the protocol as God's people.
Yes,
we know the God that we serve, and I said, don't get anointed and get carried away. Follow those guidelines. We still have to bless the baby, but there are ways to do that. We're still doing baptism. There are ways to do that. We're still evangelizing. There are ways to do that. You find different ways and means of letting the gospel go, because the Lord was already way ahead of technology. You know, when Peter was locked in prison, you know, God opened the door automatically. The door just opened on its own. It never happened anymore. So you need to understand it's the same God that is way ahead of everything, so we can reach them. So what we're saying now, how we are reaching the unreached young people, is that every young person know a sinner or two. Every Christian young person have a friend when also see have a family member. We are saying pull them in on the different platform. And you know, have the discussion. Listen, anywhere you go and talk about sex and relationship and marriage, every young people at our level love talk about that. But all you need to do is talk about that and then present to them what the Bible says. And you lead them on that pathway. So you know, one young person said to me, there seemed to be something about that young people is being pressured because they can't buy pussy in bag. And I said, the devil is a liar. And I said, I understand what they're saying. but do you know how much God loves you? And I said, you need to trust God for one, the best partner. And I said, you don't just need to trust God. That's why way before you get married, you have the ability to do the different tests. Your medical doctor and do the different checkup, get the results, and know what you're getting into. And so don't just get in a spirit and say, God, show me a man in a green shirt. I married a man. I said, nothing like that. I said, I believe that's why we don't encourage people to get married without serious counseling and guidance, so people can know the path they're on. And we have to guide young people. We have to guide them. You see, we are not here to boss them. We're here to guide them. All young people want you to do now is to work alongside them.
Yes.
You want to give them their freedom. I'm in several groups. I never comment unless it's a statement that is going to mislead them. Outside of that, you allow them to flow. And then they'll say, Rev, Mr. Director, you don't have anything to say. And I said, man, you all let me look like I'm not so bright because you've done so well. Yeah. And then I come back to it on that 1 or 2 point that we need to drive home. So I'm excited about how God is using us. Using us on different platforms, using us on the different landscape, and just to talk, and we are sitting around the table with government. We're sitting with the different ministry and leadership team, and we are excited.
We're having influence. So here's what I want to do, because we're out of time, but I want you to quickly encourage that leader of a youth department in our church that's struggling to keep his young people engaged in the church. So they may not necessarily be savvy with the ideas for online. They know to go online and know to do 1 and 2 Zoom thing, but the ideas, and they're feeling discouraged. You're like, boy, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these young people, because they're moving at a different pace than I am moving. Encourage that youth leader, that leader who is in charge of a bunch of young people in their church and not sure what to do.
And yeah, man, the first thing I want to say to them is understand Jesus' principle. Even when he sent out the disciples, he sent them in pairs. So you don't walk alone. It's time as a young leader to reach out for help. You know, there are others that have led the way and know the pathway. And there's a set of leaders now, young leaders, that is on cutting edge ministry. Reach out to an arm like Jamaica Youth for Christ. Ask us how we do it, what is happening. And we are only too happy to assist you. One is that training always helps. You never have all knowledge. Never feel that because you got the position, you have arrived. You know, God just elevates you to that position. But most of us as young leaders have been equipped on the job, you know, in that process. You know, I want you to trust those who have gone through the system. You know, you don't need to do it like how they have done it, but you can learn from them. And it's okay to say to young people, listen, I don't even have the answer. I don't know the next move, but give me a chance. I'm gonna research. And this is one thing. Once they believe in you, once they trust you, once they see you as a friend and a guide, you can get the best out of them. All right. So look at what others are doing. It is the young people that let me know that you can get on the platform Zoom free and WhatsApp about group thing. So there are several things you can get on free. The time is limited, but they sign in. When it finished, they sign in again and they keep going. So you can find ways to do this without, you know, see how other people get you the cost factor. And how do you do it? We ask people as best that families who can be together. Others, because of the social distance, to manage their space. But everybody can find somebody. Can I tell you, in Jamaica, they say every real Jamaican have 2 phones. You know, but right now, and nobody invests in good phones like young people. They'll use their last cent and buy the latest this. I am saying I don't even understand everything on the one I have now, so this is good. And they say, no, No,
Really?
Mr. Director, this one outdated and they upgrade me. So believe in them, trust them, and seek for guidance. The Paul and Timothy story is powerful. Remember that you let no man despise you, but be that example. Where young people can do at every level is live for Christ. Let them see Christ. And then while we live, we equip ourselves at both level, spiritually and other level. And my principle is, you're not sure about the call of God on your life or something, equip yourself first at school with whatever career path you is, and then equip yourself at Bible school wherever God wants to lead you.
Yes.
And I say to them, make use of seminars, make use of these opportunities. For every learning experience is worth it. You can be the best leader if you learn to depend on others. All right. When two are we agree?
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Rev. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Sharon, I see you here. Allison, boy, I love you so much. Thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate it. Rev, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. Really appreciate this. And I'm really hoping that somebody was blessed from this conversation and somebody will be inspired. Thank you again for showing up, guys. We look forward to hearing from you as we prepare for the next episode. So God bless you and have a good night.
Bless you.